Tech Cocktail Conversations, candid insights from startup founders, entrepreneurs, and thought leaders from around the globe.
Hey, I'm Rohit Bhargava, and I have written a book called Likeonomics, and I lead global strategy at a big marketing consulting company called Ogilvy. Likeonomics is my attempt to describe the way the world already works. And really what it is a book about why we do business with people we like, and how likability is a prerequisite to trust. We just don't trust people that we don't like. The biggest thing I learned writing Likeonomics, I think, was about how much we have to learn from history if we just don't focus on the now. And I think that's such a big thing because there's a lot of us who look at the latest thing that launched on Mashable, and we read Tech Cocktail, and keeping up to date with today is really cool. But if you go backwards to the late 1800s and cartography of all things, which is one of the things that I did and I learned from, it's an amazing story of entrepreneurship and startup environment in 1888. And I think that we tend to forget how much we can learn from history and focus too much on what we can learn from the guy who just sold the company to Facebook. The entrepreneurship approach, I think, to launching something like a book is, first of all, you got to realize that you sort of have a perishable product. Because the book doesn't necessarily go out of date, but the clock does start ticking the moment the book comes out. And especially when you look at the way that momentum is reported, it's really like a Hollywood film. You might have a great film, but if you don't do really well the first week, nobody's going to find out about how great your film is because you didn't land it the first week. And so the big thing I learned is that it's not enough to have a great book. You have to have a great book and really focus on the timing of how you get that out to everybody, because otherwise people won't find out that it's such a great book. It's the art of the launch, and it's the art of timing, really. And so for me, one of the biggest things in thinking about the book and thinking about the book itself, the concept of it, was this idea that having something great isn't enough. Because if everybody who had something great succeeded, we'd have a perfect world. But we don't. Great products, great people, great ideas fail all the time. And the reason why they fail is because of a lack of the right connection to the right people. And so really what I wrote about was how to take whatever your idea is, whatever your product is, if it's a startup, if it's a product, if it's just an idea, and connect it with the right people, because that's what's going to make it successful or not. One of the big things that I realized pretty quickly is writing a onomics book makes you an easy target for a lot of people, because people like to make fun of onomics. Oh no, not another onomics book. Come on. We have Wicconomics, we have Freakonomics, we have Spouseonomics, we have Emotiononomics, we have Sharkonomics, and there was a New York Times article, by the way, a true story, called Kardashianomics, and it was all about the economics of the Kardashian family. So, seriously, who needs another onomics book? So I had a lot of negativity from people who saw that and they were like, oh god, another buzzword, come on. And for me, I could have just been like, oh my god, now I gotta change the name, or I gotta rethink this, or I could just say, you know what, the name is the name. But I'm not trying to be quirky with it. I'm trying to describe something that's actually happening, and yeah, I chose a buzzword, but the book is more substantial than that. And let me tell you why. And that's what I did, and that's how I responded to people on Twitter, authentically. And I said, you know what? Yeah, it is a buzzword. I admit it. It's a made-up word. It's a buzzword. It's all done to get people talking. But there's real substance behind the idea of the book. And you know what? I'm a real guy who sat there and wrote it. And people really respond to that because it's a lot easier to bash a buzzword than it is to bash a real guy who's responding to you and saying, you know what? This is my book, and I worked really hard on it. One of the big things I think you realize when you launch a book, but I think anybody launching a product also has to realize is, are you expecting something that will happen, or are you praying for a miracle? And praying for a miracle might work in a few cases, and we usually see AMC family documentaries about it, and that's cool. But if your business strategy is hoping for a miracle, that's not really going to work for anybody. So for me as an author, when I was launching the book, one of the things I realized was just hoping that writing a great book is going to make it a bestseller is totally false. Because it's not about the quality of the product. It's about the idea that you got to get the right people to read it at the right time. You got to get the right momentum behind it so that you go to the outer circle, right? The inner circle, no matter how big or small it is, are the people you can reach. If I had 1 million people on Twitter, that's still an inner circle. It's a big inner circle, but it's still an inner circle. And the real challenge is for a book or a product, how do you get beyond the inner circle? How do you get beyond the people who actually know you or who know a friend of a friend to that next circle? And that's all about momentum. It's all about the third degree of connection. It's all about, when LinkedIn shows you this many people connected to this many people, it's the third thing. That third rung, that's when you reach everybody.